In today's video, we're going to be talking about the many options and paths that are available to you, the player, when you first start playing Star Citizen or just after one of the resets. There is already heaps of ships in-game, giving you a vast selection of choice. And when you take into account that this is a game and your primary objective should be enjoyment, you can quickly see that there is not many wrong answers, if any at all. And as long as you take your own sort of thoughts, feelings and ideas and goals into consideration, there is no real sort of wrong answer at all. Now, there definitely is going to be critics out there among you that say this video is just a tad patronising. This choice should be obvious to each individual and there is no real point to it, but I find this topic interesting and I feel it is a worthy thing to discuss. So that's why I'm making this video, because that's what these videos I've been making are all about. They're just trying to positively discuss the game. Even though the people on Reddit seem to think that my videos are about bitching about how bad the game is, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's forget about that. Now, with that said, this is almost definitely going to be one of the most situational topics for us to discuss. So I want to start off by listing what I feel is the important things to think about when you're taking those first early steps into the online world that is Star Citizen. First of all, is there a specific piece of content you want access to? Say mining. Are you going to live inside the law or outside? What is your primary objective? Fun? Eye candy? Profit? PvP? Are you willing to sacrifice a versatile jack-of-all-trades ship for something a bit more niche and a bit more defined? Are you going to be flying solo? Or do you have a group of friends or even an organisation to play with? And if you are flying as part of the group or organisation, what are your group/organisation's plans? Is it more important to you that you fit in those plans perfectly, or you do your own thing? Long story short, you just need to think about what is important to you and important to anyone that you're going to be playing with, and then just sort of build a plan up and around that. Okay, I admit, this has been just a wee bit patronising. Definitely a lot more so than I originally thought it was going to be. So that now we're talking from, well, now that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet and you just know exactly what we're talking about, let's move on to describe some situations, because I feel that's the best way for us to move forward now, and then I'll talk about my patronising recommendations for those situations. Our first situation is going to be a brand new solo player. They don't know anyone else currently playing the game. They just like the look of the game and they're just sort of testing the waters. They're just looking into the game itself. To this new player that doesn't really know what they want to do in the game and they're flying solo, I would recommend that their first ship that they really want to purchase is either a Freelancer variant or a Cutlass Black. Now, I could spend a whole video, and I mean literally a whole video, describing the pro and cons in comparison to each other from the Freelancer variants and the Cutty Black. But to cut it quick and fast and easy for this video, the Cutlass Black has a much more aggressive sort of play style, whereas the Freelancer is much more defensive. The Cutty sort of plays into more sort of high adrenaline gameplay better, where the Freelancer is the more sort of laid back sort of content. But both are extremely sort of versatile ships. That's just to give you a quick sort of snippet so I don't have to describe them all completely. And back to the situation. And the reason I recommend these ships is they're both extremely versatile and will give you a lot of different and new ways to play the game and get to experience as much as possible. And I feel that is a really good thing, for obviously because you want to play as much of the game as possible, but secondly, you're going to be able to take your experiences from playing these two ships and sort of go, right, well, I enjoyed this, I'm going to refine. I know what I'm wanting to do from now on. Like, I'm going to be able to refine my plan, and here we go. Hey presto. An example of what I'm meaning here is, say this player originally got the Cutty Black and then afterwards was intending to take out, say, a military grade fighter like the Anvil Arrow or the Gladius, but they've been really enjoying the cargo hauling in the Cutty Black, so they decide to change their plan. They've decided now to go for a Hull C or any of the Hull series really, just to give them that sort of really niche ship into the aspect they really like, and they're not too worried about buying a really niche ship because they've always got the Cutty Black to fall back on. If, for example, say pirates become more prominent and they stop enjoying the hauling sort of trades. Now let's move on to our second example, and I call this one Two Close Friends in Real Life. These two friends plan to spend almost all their game time together. They want to experience as much of the game as possible, but they also do want to make a serious bank account to sort of fund escapades and adventures and mucking about in the Star Citizen universe. They foresee that staying on the right side of the law would be beneficial to this, because it's going to be hard to earn their bank or muck around when you've got a bounty hunter trying to hunt you down. Here I would recommend that one of them goes for a freelancer and the other goes for a prospector. Why? Well, I feel these two ships are going to complement each other very, very nicely for what they are planning to do. The freelancer gives them a ship that they both can play in together if they want to do so, and they can go on their adventures, have their escapades. It has nice defences. Yeah, it's an extremely versatile ship, as we talked about above, and gives them access to a large portion of the game and allows them to play on the same ship. And the reason I say the other one should go after a prospector, because I feel like this ship will be their sort of financial funding, and then it can work in unison with the freelancer to increase their profits even more, because the prospector is a mining ship, and one of the cool things about the prospector is it can just unload its sort of cargo over the sides and let another ship pick it up and sell it. So these two ships working in unison should be more profitable than they would be working alone. The prospector is benefiting here from more uptime. It's not having to sell the mining goods itself, it's just mining, doing what it does well to make money. Whereas the freelancer is coming along behind it and getting itself some free cargo to then go and sell. And so it is not as risky for the freelancer pilot, because, well, it is just as risky technically in terms of danger. Pirates will still be pirates, but what I mean is he's not having to risk capital, like investing in goods that he's going to have to sell. He's just getting to sell the goods straight from the mining, and then together they should be able to make a better profit than they would on their own. So to round up, they've got the freelancer for all their escapades, their adventure, their exploring, they're doing whatever they want, and then they've got their prospector for the mining and making their profits, and then hopefully they can branch out and try different things that they want to do and just go around and muck about, because that's what this duo are all about. Now I want to describe one more situation for this discussion, this sort of discussion of situations, and that is the role-playing pirate gang. This is a group of players that know what they want to do and they know how they want to do it. They want to steal your cargo and they want to roleplay as they're doing it. Oh, and speaking of roleplaying, that includes Go Drake or Go Home. They're out for high-octane fun and profits second. Here I would recommend that 2/3 of the players in the group should go out and buy a Buccaneer as soon as possible. It's cheap, it's dirty, it's Drake, and it gets the job done. The cheapness is actually a real perk here, because it means they'll much sooner be able to start gathering money together and pulling it towards something we will talk about later. The last third of the players, I would recommend pick up the Cutty Black that we talked about earlier. This ship is quite important because it gives the pirates this much needed cargo space that will be really useful, as well as the tractor beam on the back for getting the cargo in there fast, I might add. This cargo space will be really useful for getting all that sweet booty from the people they're stealing from back to a local fence and allowing them to sell it so they can actually make some profit. And now that all the players have a desired ship for their sort of role, for their sort of what they need for their role-playing Drake Pirates gang stuff, I did mention they needed to start saving money and pulling it together, didn't I? The reason I'm saying this is this gang is obviously, very obviously, on the wrong side of the law. The space they can travel to is going to be very much restricted. The number of rest stops and bases and planets they can land on to recuperate, I can't even talk, to recuperate, to meet their needs, etc., is going to be drastically reduced, and drastically reducing the sort of playable area for them to play in. And I'm pretty sure almost everyone's going to realise where I'm going with this, definitely by now, and so I'm just going to get right to the point. I recommend that they pull their money together to get a capital ship as early as possible. What capital ship? The Drake. Yes, Drake, that's important. The Kraken. The Drake Kraken. This ship will give them a mobile base of operations. It'll give them a place to eat, drink, take a crap, fulfill all their daily life needs, and much faster travel around the verse, much safer travel around the verse. Basically just a mobile base. Everything that these guys are going to need to expand their area of operations, so they're not limited by only staying close to that like dodgy asteroid, like Grimhex type thing. It's just going to give them so much more they can do, so much more longevity in and around the verse. As a side note here, I just want to add that this group would really benefit from a playable Drake ship that could interdict. They may want to, at this point in time, make a special exception for their roleplay sort of needs to allow for a single player to get an RSI Mantis, just so they're not having to rely on ambush and alpha strike tactics to try and get their pirating off the ground, well, to do any pirating at all really. They could roleplay that it's a captured ship, it's their most prized possession, and it is what is holding this pirate gang together, because normally they only have access to these Drake ships. Drakes are one of the few manufacturers that actually sell to pirates, but they managed to steal this Mantis and it's sort of holding this pirate group together. I don't know. They may want to make some sort of exception, some sort of thing going on there. But there you go, I have rambled on enough and patronised yous enough. I just really hope that I've given you some food for thought, maybe given you and your group some things to think about, and you all need to sort of plan and work together, that sort of thing, because that's what this video is really about. I just wanted to spark discussion and get involved in discussion for Star Citizen, though a lot of it may have come across as patronising. That was definitely not the intention. So yes, I hope this has all helped you for your first steps into Star Citizen upon release, or if you don't mind the wipes, even though they're going to be greatly reduced soon, you could use this beforehand, before the game's released, if you don't mind the wipes. But yes, it's mainly for the end of wipes sort of era. In the comments below, I would very much appreciate if you could tell me your plans for Star Citizen. I'm not even sure what my own are yet. Is there something above that resonates with you? Is there something completely different you definitely want to achieve? Do you want to try and get that Reliant news van type vehicle? And do you want to be a space reporter? Is that something you're deadly wanting? Deadly wanting. I've never heard that anything worded like that before, but you get what I'm trying to say. For the next video, I plan to talk about organised play. We sort of touched upon it here with the pirate gang, and with the sort of freelancer and prospector working in tandem to increase their profits for both players. But yes, the next video I want to make is going to be fully dedicated towards that. I'm going to be trying to think about all sorts of fun ways, and well, some fun, some pure profit, and just talk about organized play, and just try and create like 4 or 5 very sort of distinct in their approach organized play. I can't even think of a word to describe it. Template, an organized play template, description. One of my most used phrases has got to be, you know what I'm trying to say, because I don't think there is a specific terminology for what I'm trying to say. So with that all said, I hope you've all enjoyed this. I hope you understood what I was trying to say. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.